Welcome to Crimson Guitars, welcome to my home studio, and welcome to Luthiers Question Time 102. This is a live stream show where I answer your questions about guitar building and all of that good stuff. Now, well, what can I say? It is a cold evening, it is late, there we go, and I was pooping myself there because the screen in front of me was black and I thought that this whole thing was not working properly, but it's good. We've got audio. Yeah, life is fun. Greetings to Rune Arnson, winner of one of the Great Guitar Giveaway guitars, if I recall correctly. Goth Rider Creations, Anonymous Botch, Johan van Loopy, Tennessee Fire mixed with a dash of scrumpy cider topped with oat milk for the win. Apparently sounds intriguing. Kevin Harvey, evening. Kevin, how you doing? Hoff Custom Guitars, Big Unit Guitars says hoody ho everybody. Frugal Fixer Golf. Spike, another name change there. Ape Song, you're just confusing me at this point. It's like my wife, I will finally learn where something is in the house and then it will be moved. ER Webster, Bubbly Juice. Hey Bubbly Juice, how you doing? Anonymous Botch, Sporadic Music, Drew Laws. We've got a bunch of cool people. Guitar Addicts Workshop, hey everybody. Anybody else get some shop time this weekend? This is the first time I've been in this workshop. Actually for about a week now, to the point where I've turned the heating right down to nothing almost, and it's cold. Yeah, there we go. Let's just do the whole sort of, poor me. But anyway, it's all good. David Oddy, how you doing? Now, everybody, you know the drill at this point. If you want a guaranteed answer and want to support the show, then click on the show your support for Crimson Guitars Extras channel. Down at the bottom is a little $sign and send through a super chat. That will show up on the viewer activity page here, and I will absolutely answer the question. I'm hearing fire and flame. I'm telling you, the ATEM Mini Pro comes with a super dodgy power supply, and every now and then you get these noises. Hold on, let's see if you can hear it. Now it's stopped. No, it's stopped. There you go. That can't be good. I don't think it can be. Anyway, let's put that microphone back there. I'm going to assume that you heard the... Anyway, Steve Tuttle Guitars has answered the call and sent through the first super chat of the evening. Thank you very much, Steve. All right, says Ben, I have a stick of Bubinga, about 2 meters by 180 millimeters by 50. I plan to use it in my GGBO 2023 build. I can't believe we're already talking. I mean, GGBO 22 is still in progress for the invitationals and professionals, and here we are already talking about next year. Any prep for the wood for gluing? I've heard that it can be difficult. I'm using Type Bond. Thanks, Steve. Dude, I have never had any issues with Bubinga. Bubinga is sometimes known as African rosewood as well. But Bubinga, I've never had any gluing issues with it before, and we have done a lot. We've used it a hell of a lot, both at Crimson Guitars and in our Luthiers school. Students use it on a semi-regular basis as well. And no, there is nothing special that we do. Now, there are some woods, like I think Amboina is one of them, where the wood itself is so waxy that normal glues don't do the job anymore, and you do need to treat it a little bit before you glue. And in those cases, all you really need to do is use some lighter fluid or denatured alcohol for preference, actually, because you pretty much should know what's in that, i.e. nothing but denatured alcohol, and rub that over the gluing surface to clean up any excess wax on that gluing surface. Leave it to dry and off gas, which will be rapid with alcohol, and then glue away as per normal, and you will be fine. But with Bubinga, I've never needed to do anything like that. By the way, if the live stream does suddenly die, it's because the power supply has died and we're done. I thought that I'd fix that last time by taping it together. But anyway, Adam 1873 has retracted a message. Adam, if you have a query, put it in the bottom of the chat, and I'll see if I can see that. And here we go. Sounds like it's sparking. Does it smell burnt? Have you ever tried another outlet? That's Creverai. It does sound like it's sparking, and I've used it in several different outlets yet. Yes, and what's even worse... Yeah, what's even worse is this is a new unit. This is the ATEM Mini Pro ISO that I thought I would... Essentially, you've got the ATEM Mini Pro, which is fine. You've got your four HDMI inputs, and it will record whichever input I am currently showing to the screen. With the ISO, you can set it to record all four cameras all the time, which Talitha thought would be great for my builds. And she swiftly realized that it wouldn't be great. It's 5 times the data, because you've got not only the one that I'm trying to show the screen, but also the other 4. But I really am fairly good at choosing which camera should be the right shot, etc. And it was just huge amounts of superfluous data. And she doesn't work from headquarters or from my house. She works from her house, and we have to transfer all of this stuff over. So what I'm trying to say is, in a very long-winded way, this is a new power supply with a new ATEM Mini Pro, and my last one had the same issue. Made the same noises, and I had to tape it's essentially a power supply that slides onto a thing, so it's compact. I had to tape the whole thing together with black electrical tape to make sure that it stayed together, and I've now had to do that on 2 of them. It's a problem. Anyhow, now, David, Adi, Ben, do you know the Lava Me 3? Like a spark amp inside a guitar. I do not. But it sounds like, I'll take a photograph, it sounds like the sort of thing that I would like to experiment with. Bubbly Juice says, masking tape and superglue trick probably won't work on a power supply, lol. Okay, I think you are probably correct. Okay. Adam 1873, greetings Ben, thank goodness it is starting to warm up. Fingers crossed Sam is able to make a start on my Gibson Les Paul tomorrow. Yeah, seriously. So essentially what you've got there is a guitar covered in nitro, and it's been put through the hot-cold relicking process, and you're not very happy with the crackling that occurred, and we are going to be respraying it with some nitro to hopefully not only fill but also re-weld the existing nitro together. The one problem with all of this is that this requires a spray booth that has a certain amount of warmth in it. And our spray booth is normally absolutely fine. It really is. This last 2 or 3 weeks has been insane. Sam, Tom and myself visited Little Holstock, who are a very, very high-end fine cabinet maker's workshop near us here. And they've got a heated spray booth. Oh, the luxury. I mean, the thing cost, I think he said 80 grand, which is like way beyond our means. But yeah, I am also hoping that it's warmed up enough for us to spray that safely. But we shall see. Anyhow, Vicky Johnson says, hey Ben, would you consider yourself a guitar snob? I used to. I genuinely used to actually worry about that. As a luthier, it's very difficult to not try and push your idea of what a guitar should be or could be onto the musician. And in the end, we're guitar builders because we couldn't make it as musicians a lot of the time. Okay, but yes, for the longest time, I was a guitar snob. If a pickup wasn't handmade, I go, oh, well, it's only a Seymour Duncan. Seymour Duncans sound great, and they're replicable and sound like they're supposed to every single time. It's incredible that they do that. And the same thing goes with, if it's a Fender, but a Mexican Fender, well, I'd rather have a US one. Genuinely, okay. And then there's levels within US Fenders in any case. But my favorite Fenders at the moment are either the Americans or the Japanese, or funnily enough, Squiers. I think most Squiers that I have seen have had better build quality than the Mexican ones that we've had come through recently. My favorite, the guitar that I've currently got up at the house that I play the most is a 300 quid Squier Telly. It's incredible. It's a really, I mean, the wiring, I want to replace the wiring. I need to do a little bit of work on it to make it play a little bit better. But it's literally just sitting on the floor, leaning up against my amp, wedged between a couple of chairs because I've lost all of my space to the children. And it's a guitar I don't particularly care about, but it actually feels and sounds great for the most part. It's an Esquire actually, so an Esquire. So yes, I used to think that I was a guitar snob. I am now swiftly and drastically re-evaluating my situation. So there we go. Webster, dude, get a new power supply. That is a fire just waiting to happen. I will say that all power, because I'm so paranoid about that, all power to that extension lead in particular, but most sockets in the workshop are turned off when I am not in here. Literally, almost everything is off except for the Wi-Fi, and that's it. Actually, the Wi-Fi is the only thing that's left on, and to the mains. Whew. Scott Davies says, "Hello, everybody. Crimson sanding sticks. That is all. They are incredible. I'm assuming you've had yours and you love them as much as I do. We shall see." Sporadic Amnesic has come through. "Hi Ben, the Fairclough SG I got has a very high action, but the bridge is already as low as it can be." Okay, that's interesting. "Could I sand down the underside of the bridge pieces to lower the string height? It's a set neck too." Okay, so Fairclough is a very new brand. I've actually got a Les Paul type and a Strat type that I'm going to do a video about at some point. We met them at the same show, Sporadic, Amnesic and myself, and I came very close to buying myself one, and then they said, "Oh, we'll send you a couple, do a video, and we'll see what happens." They're 150, 200 pounds. That budget. Okay, so that being said, if the bridge on that is too high, then yes, it is a Tune-o-matic. I'm sure I mentioned this same sort of thing. Oh, come on, we must have it. Here we go. So this here, that there is a Tune-o-matic that is about half the thickness it should be, and I took 4 millimeters or more off the bottom of that Tune-o-matic because I'd messed up on the brake angle, and this has been around. I've had this now for well over a decade, but you can go up until you see the back of the saddles without actually affecting how it works or functions as a bridge. So yes, you can do that if necessary. Now, let's have a look. Big Unit Guitar says, "Good news, my fret slotting miter box finally arrived. Those were out of stock for quite some time, and then on a ship, and and then we need to put them together. It's all sorts of chaos. But I'm glad that's got there." It says, "Now, when are the 25.5-inch notched rules going to be back in stock?" Those genuinely should be in stock. They should be in stock. So I'm going to check that out. Now, we have a few questions on the Crimson guitars. Okay. Fair enough. I'm just seeing the messages. Max, I hope your foot is all right. hairline fracture, just a little hairline fracture, no worries. Damn. Okay, now, hold on. Okay, here we go. Angel Song Guitars says, I've been eyeing some mesquite for fretboards. I found some 8/4, so that's 2 inches thick, available. Now I'm thinking about building some mesquite necks. Any thoughts? It's a Sonoran Desert mesquite, in case you want to look. I have never experienced mesquite myself, but I have heard good things. You do need to talk to luthiers who've actually used it. In my opinion, almost every single wood imaginable could be used for guitars. In fact, the Cowrie guitar that I'm working on at the moment, I obviously had to do some jiggery-pokery with the fretboard to flood it with cactus juice resin, etc. But yeah, it's still going to be absolutely fine, I hope. Now, the other thing is, yeah, basically I'm not the person to ask, I'm sorry. Dusty Dark Horse says, hey Ben, what do you think of Pask Make's entry? He's very clear he doesn't know what he's doing with guitars, haha, but still very impressive work in my opinion. I haven't actually sat down and watched his yet. I've been going through and then getting interrupted, and then going through and then getting interrupted. But I have seen the photographs and it looks absolutely fine. We did have some contact during the process. Where are we? Oh, there's so many cool instruments. In not only the invitational but also the professional builds. Supremely cool. Man, I've gone straight past it. Anyway, hold on. Let's see where we're at. But I'm a huge fan of what he does, and yeah, I hope that he's now got the bug, shall we say? Okay, sporadic amnesic. Do you have one of those in chrome? You got this. It's just aluminium. It's fine. But yeah, that's what you need to do. Okay, Life Balance Dave. Hey Ben, looking forward to trying the Sandy Stick and other stuff, but my Black Friday order seems to have disappeared. Can you help, please? I can. Boop. I will send a message through tomorrow morning. Okay, Adam1873 said, would your notched straight edge be a good purchase for at-home setups or maintenance? I'm not a luthier, I'd just like to learn and be able to look after my own guitars. Gibson Les Paul and a PRS Mira Core. How do you pronounce the Mira? Myra or Mira? Yes, 100% for fretwork. In fact, the majority of our notch straight edges go in essential fret leveling and dressing toolkits that go to people who have had enough of paying 100 to 200 pounds per guitar once or twice a year for a setup and fret work and all that, especially if you've got multiple guitars, as most of us do. It's to people who want to do it themselves and you know, just have a single expense and then be done with it. So yeah, notched straight edge, fret leveling beam, fret crowning file, etc. Absolutely essential, and will save you huge amounts of time and money long term. Sporadic Amnesic says, just kidding. What is the best way to do it? Sandpaper on a flat surface and do it by hand, or vise and a belt sander? I've used a vise and a belt sander. I've used vise and angle grinder, and then and that tends to round things over a little bit. Once you're fairly close to the height that you think you need to be at, then I will move over to a bastard cut file, so a very coarse file, and that flattens things down and does that job nicely. I would say that the only issue you'll have is that the posts that go through these two holes will then be commensurately proud, and you might want to cut those down as well. Although that will then be a dual finish bridge from the front, because you'll be cutting through the chrome and it might be brass. Those sections might be brass. should be brass. Okay. Ooh, Matthew Cabot, good evening, Ben. How are you tonight? Matthew, I'm okay for the most part. Thank you for asking. And I trust you are the same. I'm fairly frickin' chilly at this point, but have spent the day decorating long-term project number 3's bedroom. So yeah, I am surprised I don't currently have paint on my face. It is what it is. Okay. Scott Davies says, I didn't know what size to get, so I got them all. We're talking about the crimson sanding sticks. Here we go. Here's the medium size. And the sandpaper just comes out. There we go. I didn't know which size to get, so I got them all, and I found a use for all of them. They are fantastic. No more gluing sandpaper to various sized wood. Do you know what? I thought exactly the same, and I did a job a couple of days ago where I was like, oh my God, the small sanding stick, this is perfect. I put 800 grit paper on it, and it wasn't quite tight enough for what I was doing. This is you'll see the video, it's replacing the inlays in a Fender Jazz bass because the clay that they'd used was far too dark to actually be visible on the side dots. Yeah, I wanted some very fine paper. I ended up having to glue some paper to a stick in any case, because it was just a little bit too much movement there, which was hilariously annoying. But yeah, they are, oh my God, I'm tired, I'm sorry. They are absolutely incredible. I'm blown away by how many people see how cool they are. It's not quite our best selling tool, but it is 100% in the top 10, if not the top 5 at this point. And for a brand new tool, that's incredible. Vicky Johnson, following question. Would you consider doing a teardown of a proper cheap guitar under £100 so that we can see the difference between one of those and the stuff you usually work on? Absolutely. So what I was saying earlier about the Fairclough guitars that Sporadic and Music has got one of, they're about £150, and I absolutely will be doing teardowns of what's that brand that everybody's doing at the moment that Thomann do. But yeah, it's one of those things. Daju says, I love my Squier Strat. Once the frets are fixed, I can play it again. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they do tend to come with bad frets in the first case, but with a little bit of work and a little bit of effort, they are really good things. Functionally, the timber and the machining, etc., is actually really not half bad. Dang Nabbit, turning a normal fretboard into a scalloped one. How do I get my neck straight to dress the frets when my notched straight edge doesn't have a reference surface? This is the problem. This is where you have to go back to eyeballing it from the top of the frets as they currently exist. So basically you want to level your frets. Use a notch straight edge before you scallop them. Firstly, make sure that your frets are perfect before you do any scalloping whatsoever. And then from that point on, you know that you've got a fairly good starting point, and you then need to go with a standard straight edge and eyeball it. And if you watch my oldest videos, you'll see that I couldn't afford a notched straight edge. I just couldn't. I wasn't going to pay StewMax prices to get stuff over here. In this way, you put it on the frets and you eyeball, and you that's your only option. You don't have a fretboard onto which to do it, and you can get close. And there is potentially an argument, and I might be doing myself out of some sales here, but there is an argument potentially that I am going too far for the precision side of things, using notch straight edges and fret rockers and all that. Maybe you don't need to do a fret level for every single guitar that is ever made, unless you're actually getting buzz Do you need to? Maybe not. Will I? Always. Yeah, pretty much. Earl says, chat, so I got a mini dumble pedal that's awesome, and now I'm thinking of replacing my whole pedal board with mini pedals. Like the idea of making it smaller, my current pedal setup is a bit cumbersome. Yeah, I mean, my favorite pedal is about that bloody big at the moment. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if the quality of the mini pedals, this is just my opinion, if the quality of the mini pedals, if the sound is the same, then go for it. You get twice as much for the available real estate. But also, I was having a conversation with a guy in a music shop yesterday, and he was like, so do you just have one pedal board, or are you trying to fit it all onto one, or are you 2 or 3, or what's the deal? And I'm like, I could have 2 or 3 pedal boards. And I sort of just walked away, just shaking my head going, 2 or 3 pedal boards? 2 or 3? 3 pedal boards? Oh yes. So yeah, just take up more space, who cares? Okay, Dimitri. He's been a member for 5 months. Says, hi Ben, when I install my frets, some sort of dirt gathers to the point they meet the fretboard and I can't get rid of it no matter what I do. Please help. I genuinely don't understand this question. When you're installing the frets, some sort of dirt gathers to where they meet the fretboard. It sounds like the frets, there shouldn't be enough room for dirt to gather underneath the fret in the first place. If it might be that you've got dust there from the manufacturing process being pushed out of the fret slots by the glue. I'm assuming you're using white glue like I do, and that's coming out not going down fast enough, hard enough, far enough. Or it may well be that your fret slots aren't deep enough and the frets just are not getting deep enough and seating properly. But this is the sort of thing, please send me a photo to stream@crimsonguitars.com and I'll have a look. I might be completely misunderstanding what you've said here. Now, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Adam 1873 says, how much would you charge to do checking to the Les Paul by hand? The SG you did looked great. I genuinely don't know. Drop me, well, you're going to be talking to Sam tomorrow. I will consider it and we'll talk. Although, well, yeah, I mean, if that's the look that you want, then I can definitely do that. And it was about a day's work, so you know, a day's worth of money. So like £14,000. I'm sorry. I am not worth anywhere near that much, but I like pretending that I am. It's a few £100, maybe 300 tops, but it depends on the substrate. It depends on how much we manage to get rid of the checking that is already there. But it's certainly something that's much more controllable, and yeah, it would be fun to do again. I do very much enjoy that. If I do it, you could actually send me photographs of specific guitars, specific Les Pauls, and say, hey, I want something that has this exact feel to it, and I can do that. Okay. Guitar Addicts Workshop. When doing a neck carve, do you have any tricks for getting the neck straight along its length? I kept getting high and low spots when carving. I eventually got it, but it took a while. The trick is to hold the neck up against a reference point. I don't have any guitar necks floating around apart from this beastie. Just here. Okay. So essentially, the trick is to hold the neck up. you can see the edge of your fretboard, and then you roll it, and you can see, hell, on this one I can actually see like a minuscule, a tenth of a millimeter bump there, just on that area right there. And then you continue rolling and you can see where you have problems and where you don't have problems. And it makes the whole thing, well, that's how I do it, and that's how I've always done it. So yeah, she's coming together. The back, the sides, the front, there's all sorts of stuff going on now. Woo! Alrighty. Sporadic Amnesic again, thanks very much, dude. I really do appreciate your support here. It says, have you considered doing a Luthiers teardown series on gear and equipment like pickups, amps, pedals, etc.? It is something that's floating in the back of my mind. The issue I've got is, first of all, I wouldn't necessarily be the right person to do that. It could be done on this channel, on my channel, absolutely, but I'm only just now allowing myself to properly dive nose first into pedal acquisition and all that nonsense. And it's as much because of the museum that we're setting up as anything else. I really... Let's go back to the original question of, am I a guitar snob? I, for the longest time, mistakenly thought that that you as a musician could get everything that you needed out of just an amp and a guitar. And there are some people that can, but all of the musicians that I love listening to, they used a pedal or two or 5 or 20 to get the sounds that I loved. And you know, Gary Moore was not just the Les Paul with a nice amp, although he could make a Les Paul with a nice amp. I mean, a Les Paul, a particular 59 Les Paul, but you know, he had various pedals that he used to get the various tones that I love. And the same thing goes for Prince and you know, everybody else. Yeah, it's a part of the chain. So I'm getting into it, and it's annoying. But my knowledge is nowhere near at the level where I could comfortably make a video about it. In fact, I am very, very uncomfortable at the moment making videos about some of the guitars because I don't actually know a lot of what I'm talking about. I can look at the physical internals of the guitar and say, well, this is, you know, this neck joint and this is the reason why that's done, and oh, that's an interesting bridge position or whatever. Or bridge construction, as has happened a few times. But I don't know the histories of these guitars. I don't know the reasons why. And that's why I'm making these videos, so that I can learn. I think that if I started doing pedals and gear and stuff like that as well, there are other people out there in the interwebs who are far better than I am at that. But never say never. We'll see how that goes. Whew. I'm freezing my tits off. Alrighty, Mixed Guitar says, hi all, finally made it to one, lol. Greetings and salutations. Yes, SM Myers, I do need to find an aftermarket power supply of all the guitars. Ben, I was looking to buy tickets on the GGGA Great Guitar giveaway, but saw the option to pay with PayPal isn't there anymore. The only option was to pay with a credit card, which I don't have. Why no PayPal anymore? PayPal thinks that it is a gambling website and we are not allowed to use PayPal. That was actually the entire issue. It doesn't have to be a credit card or debit card, and PayPal actually do offer you, PayPal at least have offered me multiple times a card that would then use my PayPal balance. So that is potentially another way around this thing if you do want to, and you obviously do, so which I appreciate. But yeah, essentially both PayPal and our original payments provider have come to the conclusion that they don't want to provide this service there because they think it's gambling. And it's close enough too that I do understand what they're saying. And yeah, it's just their terms and conditions say no gambling, period. So unfortunately, this actually is a reason why a lot of people had issues with PayPal. It was a sporadic amnesic is in my head now. It was a sporadic effect. It was some payments were going through, some payments weren't, but that turns out to have been the issue. Now, there have to be ways around it. The other thing that has had to change recently is that there are currently no options to look at the Great Guitar giveaway amounts in anything other than pounds. I am going to be looking into that, or asking Tom to look into that tomorrow. I've just noticed over the weekend that our new payments provider, who is happy to work with us and take credit card, debit cards, is not working with other currencies. So there we go. Big Unit Guitar says, Ben, the new pay system on GGGA won't accept any payment method I have tried. When did you last try that? And would you mind sending us an email through stream@crimsonguitars.com, and maybe we could run some tests with you, because essentially it does appear to be working. It does appear to be working to a certain extent with many people. I haven't personally checked anything coming from where you live, though, so maybe there's issues there. It is something that I'm very, very much aware of, though, and it's insane. We thought that we had set up absolutely everything perfectly and it was working wonderful, and it did for a week until they said, no, I don't like this. If we do need to change to a third or even fourth payment provider, we absolutely will. I'm also trying to get Google Pay and Apple Pay enabled, but I suspect that those are going to go the same or have the same issues as PayPal. Sadly, it's an absolute bloody nightmare. Harley Benton from Toman. That's what I'm talking about. Everybody got there in one clump. I love you guys. Okay. Ford 351 WPI says, Ben, wiring question. I have seen everything from landline phone wire, landline, what is this thing you speak of, to stereo speaker wire. What is the best gauge or type of wire to use in a guitar? I don't know gauges and all of that in my head. Do not use solid core wire unless you absolutely have to. It's just if you have solid core wire in there and there is a fault, it's probably going to be with that. So stranded wire and about 1 millimeter thick is what I tend to use. But basically I have stripped USB cables before to use for rudimentary 5 or 6 core, I forget which, pickup wire, etc. Pretty much anything that has been used in something electronically can be, and yeah, go for it. Absolutely. Now, David Oddy, I'm getting to like my Gibson SG. When are you going to make one? I still haven't yet made one. I can't believe it. But yeah, we're working on one for Great Guitar Giveaway at the moment. But yeah, to actually make one is a different story at the moment. I just need to take a photo of Big Unit's question there. Okay. Buck Rogers, did you read my totally epic pickguard suggestion for the 42,000-year-old build? I have not yet. Sorry, hold on. I have read a few, and yours might have been the one that I went, oh my god, that's totally epic. Were you... and let's see if I get this right, because there's a lot of things and I have not yet read anywhere near all the comments. One that did cross my attention was somebody suggested I should make a bronze or brass 3D hex patterned thing. So essentially it's transparent but you cut hex shapes into the brass and copper, and it's sort of like extruded Nomex or something like that. Would be so incredible. But unless that was your idea, I'm very interested, and I'm going to be sitting down somewhere warm and reading everything soon. Yeah. That sounds horrific, Max, like properly horrific. Okay. Queries, questions, comments. Creever says, I have some spare time. Who knew? So, yeah, Broken Foot will do that. And I watched some of the GGBO videos today. The copper sculpturing by Pask makes was awesome. I knew whatever he would do would be awesome. I really should have sat down and watched that already. Yeah, I really should have. Stilgard says, hi Ben, Daryl Braun made a video about Sterling Majesty recently, and OMG, frets on that guitar did not look good on close-up photos, and there were gouges on fretboard from fret end dressing files. Yikes. This is the thing. So people have been asking me to build to make a production guitar in the UK for £1,000 or less, and we tried it once and we couldn't do it because I refused to put a guitar out without a full level crown and polish and all of that sort of work. And all of these companies doing, you know, sub $1,000 or so, they don't do fretwork. They just can't. They can't afford to, and sometimes even more expensive guitars. So yeah, this is it. Douglas Sapola says, I finally got through the GGBO guitars on the giveaway site and have finally narrowed down the ones I'll buy tickets for, down to 11. With an emoji like that. Let me know if the transaction goes well, and if you've got any issues, please stream at crimsonguitars.com, or, well, just, yeah, let me know. And I genuinely, I'm not allowed to enter the competition. I am not allowed to, and there are multiple guitars on there that I want to own myself, which is horrifically tempting. I think that what I need to do is figure out how to commission other people to build guitars. Can you believe that I'm going from being a guitar builder to a guitar collector? What's wrong with me? Anyway, okay. Yes, so the Sterling Majesty, yeah, I'm not surprised, unfortunately. And yeah, what can you do? Earl says, Ben, I reckon a leather pick guard on the ancient wood guitar would look awesome. I've never done that, and yeah, that could actually. Okay, questions. Hold on, here we go. Anonymous Botch, how about a fossilized ammonite inlaid into the fretboard or headstock on the cow rebuild? I do love that idea. In fact, I've got a collection of various fossils and bits and pieces in my inlay drawer for such an occasion, but the client wants something very simple in this build. Big unit guitars. Oh, just tried again and it worked. Weird. So there we go. If anybody's having, that's really good news. This is he just tried to buy a ticket on the Great Guitar giveaway, and it worked. If you have had any issues because there has been a change in supplier, you might need to come in, clear your cache, or come in from a different provider or something to see. But yeah, whoa, Ravencroft Guitars just attempted solidifying a spalted maple top with super glue. My eyes hurt and I can smell colours, but fingers crossed it worked. That's one of my favourite comments I've ever read. But yes, solidifying things with super glue is an absolute nightmare. And if you have not yet sanded it down, I would suggest you do it outside if at all possible. I know it's cold. Or don't actually use a random orbital sander. Do as much of it as possible by hand. And do it in small doses, because the dust is nasty. But the friction of sanding it down with a powered sander also creates fumes, and it's almost as bad, if not worse, potentially, than when you apply it. Gothrider Creation says, Pask's build is amazing. I made a vid this morning about my picks this year. The copper work he did is stunning. Gothrider Creations, Joe Brown says, evening everyone. Good evening. Okay, I'm gonna have to cut this short. I am gonna have to cut this short. I thought this morning that I should probably come down and turn the heating up, but at this point I'm starting to not be able to feel my toes, and nothing is worth that. So if you've got questions, I'm gonna give it another 10 minutes or so. But yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna slow it down. Adam 1873 says, fantastic, your notch straight edges look great, and to be honest, I'll only use it to check neck straightness. Will they be on sale again after Christmas? You said a mirror like mirror. Correct. Fantastic. I do not know. I suspect we're going to do some sort of a January sale. I do suspect that there's probably going to be, but I can't confirm that. I cannot confirm nor deny. But yes, there has been talk. Sam's Budget Guitars. Crimson Guitars, please help. I bought a PRS style kit guitar, and as I'm painting it, the paint has dropped into the binding. How do I remove it? Okay, scrape it off with a scalpel blade. I'm struggling to pick this up. With a scalpel blade or a razor or something like that, and it'll just scrape off absolutely clean. There are many videos on the internet about scraping binding. Adam 1873 says, also I'm moving from Poole to Gillingham, Dorset, so you guys will become my new and localish luthier. I have family that live very close to Gillingham, actually, and I was in Poole 2 days ago. So I mean, you're already fairly local to us. But yeah, you are. Just say yes. Yes, Ben. I am moving closer to you because you're setting up a guitar museum. And yeah, I believe you. Okay. Lisa Harshberger. Lisa Harshberger says, I bought too many tickets for great guitar giveaways. Too many interesting and weird builds like Yuri's, and downright beautiful like Young Hung. I want to find out how much those guitars are, and I would very much like to commission one. The latter, just mind-blowingly cool. Now, the Ginger Drum Tech. Hi Ben, is it possible to make a book match running the length of the fretboard? Yes, absolutely. I've done it several times before. Other people have done too. I've seen it done at a diagonal from one corner to the other as well, which also looks quite cool. And yeah, sometimes you can use a piece of wood that has got both heart and sapwood in it. Paduke. The heartwood of Paduke is brilliant red and turns brown over time, but the sapwood is a creamy sort of colour, very light brown, and that works quite nice. Kathy Thorne says, Harley Benton from Toman, hubby got me one and turned cheese graters into frets. Not bad for 88 quid though. This is the thing. Sam's Budget Guitars, new subscriber here. I just bought a PRS star. I've been applying water-based paint to it as either paint, and it's dripped onto the binding. How do I remove? Yeah, as I said before, just scrape that away and you'll be fine. Melt disc is also in Poole. So weird. It is quite funny when we're talking to 100 or so people at the moment, and many of them are in the States and other strange places. yet some of you are basically next door neighbours and are feeling the same chilly Arctic winds that I'm feeling in my bones. Right, I'm actually about to start shivering. Creative Composites, hi Ben, what is your choice for tuners for a 335 build? I would go for something lighter weight if I had the choice. I like Spurzels. I do like Spurzels. I haven't used them for a while. But open back Grovers or something like that, it doesn't really matter. Most name brand tuners are of a similar sort of quality. At that point, I would go for something that looks like you would like it to look, and erring on the side of lighter weight. Now, dang nabbit, when will Sophia be starting acoustic guitar building courses? Drop us a message and put your name down. We are in the process of setting up jigs and all of that sort of stuff, and that's going to be coming on stream in the not too distant future. But if you said, hey, I wanted to do one in 3 months' time, then we could actually make that happen, basically. Okay. One, two, three, 1, 2, 3. Ravencroft Guitar. So Ben, I didn't listen to you against working with Wenge, and I didn't listen to you or Brad against using superglue as a sealant, and I learned I should have for both. What else should I ignore? Lol. Sometimes mistakes just have to be made. IRL, you know, it just is what it is. I don't listen to lots of people in any case. Okay. Walden Guitar Works says, I had a check, but GGA won't accept my Dutch debit card details, so no tickets this time round, I guess. Could you drop me an email to stream@crimsonguitars.com or office@greatguitargiveaway.com? Come on, take a photograph. And we'll ask you to do a test. What happened? I've completely lost your thing. I wanted to take a photograph of that. No. Sporadic Music says, I just bought 1 or 2 tickets for the Cherry V. What do you think about a dark red stained quilted maple scratch plate? For some reason, I always thought that... a stained... Hold on. Scratch plate. I thought you said fretboard. A stained scratch plate, absolutely fine, no worries. A stained fretboard, actually quite cool and worth doing. I've seen PRS private stock do some incredible things with that have changed my mind on that. But yes, I think that maple as a scratch plate material is not used enough. And yeah, may the odds be in your favour for that Cherry V. Anthony Cunliffe. What would be your ultimate worst wood to build a guitar out of? Body or neck, top is optional, but all must be different. End goal would be to be a guitar that looks good at the end. What would be my ultimate worst wood to build a guitar out of? Balsa wood, basically. But that just wouldn't work, wouldn't function as a guitar. Yeah, that just wouldn't function as a guitar. My least favorite would be ironwood or something like that. Incredibly hard, incredibly heavy, just a nightmare. You would have to chew the whole thing out using rasps and things like that, abrasive tools, which just wouldn't be fun. So let's say, yeah, an ironwood neck and fretboard and a balsa wood body. It would be, it would just be horrific. Ape Song says, Ben, have a great holiday break and share your love and joy with your family. Thank you very much. I'm going to go and hug at least 1 or 2 of them now, and they are going to shout at me because I'm so freezing. Adam1873 says, where is the museum going to be? Will it be at your current workshop or a different location or town? At the moment, the collection is at Crimson CGHQ. It's at headquarters. One of the walls in the studio has about 30 guitars on it at the moment, which is pretty good going considering I only started even buying guitars for the collection about 2-3 months ago. I am converting the tool shop upstairs is moving sideways a little bit, and the current tool shop is then going to be the museum for the next year or two. But my medium-term goal is to find a much better premises in, I'm thinking Bridport or potentially Dorchester, or maybe actually somewhere down Poolway, which would be quite funny given our earlier conversation. But no, I'm thinking Bridport would be great. It's on the route from London and that entire side of the country to Cornwall. We'd be able to get a brown sign saying, hey, there's a guitar museum here, and it just would be much better from the point of view of tourists and people actually coming down to visit it than being on some farm in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, that's my current plans. It is going to be supremely cool, and I'm hoping to have something worth visiting within 6 months, actually, if it goes according to plan. Whew. Okay. Morten Martinson says, hi and a good Sunday. I wondered, since you were so heavy into see-through guitars, why not try a banjo-like guitar? It's at least round. That actually could be quite fun. Anonymous Botch, hugging someone for warmth equals heat thieving. I thought, yeah, fair point. Johan van Loope says, Bridport is a hole, ha ha. I quite like Bridport, although, I mean, maybe that comment is going to put me off moving there. Adam 1873 says, fantastic, I can't wait to visit. I thought of having a special open day. We will have, when we actually open things properly, yes, we will have a well-publicized something. Jason Davies 2000, what is the story about the transparent bass on the wall in some recent videos? That is a bass guitar prototype that I built for Charlie Jones, Goldfrapp's bass player, and that one wasn't quite stable enough with the heavy gauge strings that he prefers, so I ended up building him something else with a timber neck and an acrylic headstock and body, and I've kept that, so there we go. Okay, I'm going to end on this. JBoogie164. Speaking of mistakes, I was ready to start putting yellow dye in the trem cavity of a gem that I'm building. I stained the body dark blue and then spilled the yellow dye, and now 1/3 of the back is green. I think that you've got a green guitar. I am so sorry for your loss. I've done the same sort of thing on a semi-regular basis. Oh. Okay, family are messaging me. Okay, now, here we go. I am going to... Robert R. Ben, have you had a chance to watch the Adam Savage video I mentioned last week? Yes, this is about the 3D printed fashion. I did. It took a little while to find it. They put out so many videos, but it was incredible, and yes, I agree, inspiring. So there we go. Garage Master Guitars has got a laser cutter engraver arriving Wednesday. That's going to be great fun. Okay. Ben, look into old Gibson pickguards. I have a 1923 Gibson L2 arch top that is a floating pickguard. It has 2 pins in the side of the neck and a clamp-like thing on the side of the body. That would work very well for the Cowrie build. Have you ever considered obtaining donated guitars or basses for the museum, like a Hard Rock Cafe? You never know. Donated, we've already had a couple of guitars donated, and one other has been lent to us. And yes, as we develop and as we grow, we will absolutely be accepting either or both emphatically. And we're also planning on... I genuinely think that this museum is actually going to be the biggest thing that I do. Bigger than Crimson, bigger than... It could be incredible. We're also considering having guest collections. So we know private collectors who have amazing things, but they're never seen by anybody. We will borrow parts of collections and have them on display for people to come and visit, etc., as things develop and grow. There's no end to what can be done. However, there is an end to this live stream because I am freezing my butts off. My workshop, Gareth Travers is asking how big it is. It's 6 meters by 4, and then the extension is 4 by 3.5 or so, something like that. And yeah, I should have left the heater on this morning. Sporadic Music, one final super chat. Comes in and says, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's to you and your family, Ben, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody. I concur. I will not be doing a live stream, a Sunday live stream for the next 2 weeks at least. We've got Christmas and New Year. I'm hoping to do some random ones during the daytime sometime with the heating on. In the meantime, thank you very much for your support. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all of everything that you guys do. Yeah, I really, really appreciate everything you do. So thank you. Have a good evening. Have a good week. I will see you. I'll catch you on the flip side. Goodbye.